Hey everybody, welcome back to Couch Potato. It's your girl Sweet Potato, and today we are continuing the Halloween movie marathon, horror movie marathon, whichever. And today, I'm sorry, I'm looking at my phone. We will be talking about Would You Rather. So, Would You Rather is a movie. It came out in 2012. You can see this movie on Netflix. So I watched this movie Monday while I was off of work, and I had already had it like on my list to watch because I was like, oh, okay, the little premise seems like something that I would like. So really, it's more of a psychological thriller. But I mean, I guess one could be afraid of this. I just don't know who would be in this situation. Anyways, it's starring Brittany Snow, which people would know her from Pitch Perfect, the trilogy, because Pitch Perfect is a trilogy at this point. She played Chloe on those, which she was like the nice girl on Pitch Perfect, whatever, blonde hair girl. On this in this movie, she plays a character named Iris. Um, all the other characters are named not irrelevant, but irrelevant. Anyway, pretty much the movie is about Iris and her brother. So it opens up. Iris is at a interview for a waitressing job. You kind of get a little bit of her backstory through this interview of, well, you why are you back in this small town? And she was like, well, I'm from here. I had moved away for college, but there was an accident, so I had to move back and take care of my brother. So parents died in some sort of accident. Her brother has cancer. I'm not 100% sure what type, but he needs a bone marrow transplant. We find out throughout the movie and like flashbacks and whatnot that Iris isn't a match for him. So, you know, pretty much is a situation where she's taking care of her younger brother. She doesn't have a college education, can't really get a job in this small town. But of course, when you have a disease such as cancer, like, it's expensive. You know what I'm saying? And she doesn't have the money to pay for it. So she tells her brother, like, okay, well, the doctor at the clinic said that has, he thinks that he knows of a way that could help us financially. So she goes to talk to the doctor. Well, in this room is a rich guy. What's the association? It's a rich man, and it's okay, yeah. So her brother has leukemia. So the doctor introduced him to a man named Shepard Lambrick, and it's the Lambrick Foundation. So it's a charity, but it's like this rich family, which are the Lambricks, and it's a charity that donates money to less fortunate. So the man pretty much tells her, I am gonna have a dinner party at my house, and you know, there is pretty much a game that we play. It's a contest or whatever, and whoever is the winner will win a substantial amount of money. He doesn't disclose how much money, but it's life changing, whatever. And he was like, I also know people that could help your brother, and we can get him, pushed ahead on some lists, and for his transplant. So she's like, okay, I'll think about it. She gets a call from the restaurant, and they're pretty much telling her she didn't get a job. So she RSVPs for the dinner party. So she tells her brother that, hey, I'm going out with some friends or whatever tonight. Are you going to be good here by yourself? And he was like, yeah, I'm straight. So she goes to this dinner party. And the dinner party is at this mansion. The people who are playing the game or are a part of the contest is 8 people. These 8 people all need money for whatever reason. They're all not similar type of people or whatever. So it's those 8 people, the main guy Lambrick, his son, whatever his name is, Lambrick Jr., and the butler and the butler's staff. So they eat dinner. Now, when they bring the food out, it's like steak and potatoes and whatever. And Iris is like, oh, I'm so sorry. I should have said before that I don't eat meat. I'm a vegetarian. And so Lambrick is like, oh, well, I'm sorry. We don't have anything else. She was like, it's fine. I'll just eat the potatoes. It's no big deal. And then he was like, well, Iris, I would like for you to eat the meat. And she was just like, I can't do that. I'm a vegetarian. And I've been a vegetarian for however long, right? And he was like, you can do it. You just won't do it. But I think it's because I haven't found your price yet. So he tells her, for $5,000, eat the steak. And she was just like, what? Then he was like, for $10,000, eat the steak. And the people are like, girl, do it. Just eat the meat, whatever. So she eats it. Give her $10,000. Now, there's another man at the table who was already kind of a skeptic of this foundation or whatever. And he's drinking water while they having wine. And the man, Lambrick, is like, why are you drinking wine? I mean, why aren't you drinking the wine? And he was just like, oh, I don't drink. He was like, oh, you were an alcoholic. And he said, well, yeah, and I've been sober for 16 years. Alcohol ruined my life, blah, blah, blah. And I'm finally back on track. And he was like, I would like for you to drink the glass of wine for $5,000. And he was just like, no. He's like, drink the glass of wine for $10,000. And he was like, no. He was like, okay. He was like, drink this whole, those little fancy bottles that rich people always have that they cognac and all of their scotch and shit be in, that type of thing. He brought out one of those and he was like, drink this whole bottle of this for $50,000, which is enough money that could, help put a dent and change your life. So he was like, either drink the wine for $10,000 or drink this whole bottle for $50,000. So the man drank the whole bottle. So then after they get done eating, he's like, okay, so the game is simple. And the black guy that was there was like, so we haven't already been playing? And he was just like, no. So he was like, the game is simple. It's a game that you probably played in school called Would You Rather. And he was like, so for example, if I say, Travis, would you rather kiss Iris or would you rather kiss Lance? And then Travis is like, I'd rather kiss Iris. And then he was like, okay, but in our game, whatever you choose to do, you have to actually do it. And they had an old lady there who was like in a wheelchair. She was like, so you gonna make us kiss each other? And he was like, no, that was just the only example I could think of off the top of my head. He was like, I think our games, is a little bit more, intense or whatever. So he was just like, if you want to decide right now that you don't want to play, we have cars waiting outside and you can leave now. And it is what it is. So the man who had drank the whole bottle for $50K, he had got up with his $50K like he was about to leave, but then he sat back down. And let me tell y'all something. That's what he fucked up. That was greed. You should have took that $50K, took the ride home, threw up, gone to an AA meeting, and did whatever it is you was going to do with that $50,000 as long as it wasn't buying no alcohol, right? But no, he didn't. He stayed because he was greedy. He was like, oh, okay, I did that. That ain't bad. I'm going to give me some more money. So nobody left. He was like, okay, well, we'll let the game begin. So then the butler, he brings out, come to find out he was like an ex-CIA or whatever. And he brought out this thing that like electrocute your head. Like it was like a, you know, like a headband thing, but it had like the little metal plates. And you press a button and it electrocute the person. Well, this one had 2 headbands and it had the box and it was a red button or a blue button. So either you was gonna press a button to shock yourself or shock the next man. And they was like, oh my God, he's trying to kill us. They're trying to kill us. Y'all just trying to hurt us, is what the drunk man said. So he got out and he was like, I'm about to leave. Shot that nigga in the head. I was like, oh. So then everybody freaked out. And they was like, no, y'all had y'all chance to leave. Now we're playing. I was like, oh. It just got real on y'all. So then everybody was scared, but they went around the room shocking themselves or shocking others. And then whenever they was in the middle of transitioning from that game to the next, they were like, listen, if we stick together, it's more of us, and then we can overpower them, we can get out of here. And everybody was like, cool, except this one other chick. So they only had 3 women. It was 8. It started off with 8 players, and only 3 of them was women. And at this point, 1 man died. They had Iris, they had the old lady in the wheelchair, and they had the dark-haired girl. And the dark-haired girl was pretty much evil. She was like a gothic type of chick. They was already trying to set up her up. Like, she was just ain't right. So she was like, y'all tripping, and I ain't about to be a part of whatever it is y'all trying to do. You gotta win the game to get out. Okay, that's it. So they bring out the next game, which was and in between this time too, the Son and Travis had an exchange where they kind of got into it, and that kind of played into this next game. So the next game was either stab whomever in the thigh with an ice pick, or whoop Travis, give Travis 3 strikes with this like African, you know, whipping tool or whatever. And it was like wooden. It didn't look like it would hurt as bad as it did, but literally every time Travis got hit with it, like he got blood came out, and it didn't have like no ridges on it that I could see, but I was like, oh. So pretty much what ended up happening is Iris went first. It was like stab Lance in the thigh or give Travis 3 strikes. And if you hit him, you gotta hit him hard. Can't be no little baby strikes, because it won't count. And then they were like, well, they got a main artery in the thigh and you might hit it. So Travis was like, I'll take the strikes. He was like ex-military or whatever. So she gave him 3 strikes. And it hurt visibly, and he was bleeding, like I said. So then they said Lance. And like from the first game, the way it worked was, it was like yourself and the person next to you. Then when it moved on, then the person next to you, it was either themselves or the person next to them. So seemingly it should have been Lance, would you rather stab Iris or whoop the black dude? But what ended up happening was, would you rather stab Iris in the thigh or give Travis 3 more strikes? And it was like, wait, what? But he can make the rules to his own game, child. And that's what it was. So eventually throughout this game, Travis probably took 9 strikes and he had passed out. He wasn't dead, but he passed out. Then they get around to the other side of the table, and the white guy that was sitting next to the lady in the wheelchair was like, listen, I ain't trying to give Travis no more strikes. He gonna die. But if I stab the lady in the wheelchair in the leg, she ain't gonna feel it. So he stabbed her in the leg. So then it was the lady's turn, and they was like, dude, would you rather give Travis 3 more strikes, or would you want to stab the dark haired chick? So she, with no like thought, nothing said, she just like, pretty much she swiped the chick next to her leg, and the girl bowled her in the face talking about, you scratched me. So then It gets to her, and it was like, well, do you want to stab, give Travis 3 more strikes, or do you want to stab the black dude across the table? And she was like, can I stab anybody? Because Travis gonna probably die anyway. The old lady probably gonna bleed out. So can I stab anybody else? And he was like, yeah, sure. Rule change. Go ahead, stab whoever. So then she was like, can I stab him wherever? So she goes to Iris, and he was like, nah, yeah, from the neck down. Stab Iris in the side. I said, you know what? Then it gets to the black dude, and he was like, I think the dark-haired chick is right. The only way to get out of here is to eliminate other players. So he go and give Travis 3 more strikes. Travis about dead. Old lady bled out, and that was the end of the game. I said, So then they transitioned for the next game. So they decided to take Travis' body out, and they took the old lady body out because she was bleeding out. So then Lambrick and the butler was having like a sidebar conversation. The son was still sitting at the table. Lance asked Iris, like, can you run? And she was like, yeah. So he was like, all right, 1, 2, 3. She break off running. He take the little whipping tool, hit one of the bodyguards, the other dude that was across the table, and the black guy. They was all fighting the other security and fighting Lambrick. Lambrick ended up shooting the black guy in the chest. He was dead. And then the dark-haired chick just stood off to the side like, I told you I wouldn't be in a part of this. So all of them get recaptured and sat back down, but Iris had got out the room because the door was not locked. So then the butler and the son went to go look for her. So then she almost get out, but during this time too, the doctor from the clinic, he had changed his mind, so he had got a gun and went to the house trying to save her or whatever. And he got there and he found her or whatever, but then he ended up getting shot by the butler. But Lambrick Jr. ended up finding Iris first and was trying to rape her. Now, earlier in the movie, the dad was telling him, like, before the game and all the people had got there and everything, he was telling him, I'm happy that you want to participate in all of that, but the stuff you pulled last year ain't gonna work. So, anyway, the butler pretty much get Lambrick Jr. Well, I stabbed Lambrick Jr. in the leg with the ice pick because she still had it. And then Lambrick Jr. was telling the butler to kill her because she had hurt him. And then the butler was like, no, your daddy gonna want her back in the game. So he took her back and told him to go upstairs. So then he brought Iris back into the dining room with everybody else. So at this point, it's 5 people left. And then the butler tells the dad, whispers in his ear, like, what happened to Iris. So he go upstairs to talk to his son, and he comes back and whispers to Iris, what happened in the basement? I'm so sorry. I apologize. I said, so wait, you a whole murderer, and you embarrassed and upset that your son a rapist? Oh, okay, cool. I get it. Morals, okay? Morals. So then this next game, they bring out a barrel. And he was like, so for this game, it's going to be you choosing between the known and unknown. So he gave each person a little, envelope with a card inside of what they would have to do. So they would have to choose whatever's inside the envelope or choose the barrel. And it was like, well, what's inside the barrel? They was like, water. We have to hold your head under the water for 2 minutes. So you could possibly drown. Or you choose what's inside the envelope. So it started with the guy across the table. So he opens his envelope, and it looks like a little stick of dynamite or a firecracker. And the man was like, oh, you just have to hold a firecracker, light it in your hand. And he was like, oh, okay. So they put like a fourth of a stick of dynamite. He was like, man, no, I'm not doing that. And it was like, you got to light it in your hand. Even if we got to tie it, like, strap it to your hand. So they duct taped this thing to his hand. He lighted, get to the end, nothing happens, and then boom, his hand blew up. Then he fell out. I thought he was in shock. They was like, oh, he having a heart attack. And he dies. Then it gets to Iris. Yeah, it gets to Iris. No, I'm lying. It gets to Lance again. And then Lance, he was like, he opened his card too. So he opened his card and he was just like, what is this? And it was an eyeball picture. Like, it was just a picture of an eye. And he was like, sorry, you gotta cut your eye with a razor. So he just hands him a razor, like, you gotta cut your eye. You got a minute or 30 seconds, whatever. And he was just like counting them down. And then, right, it was like, even that, if you're gonna get shot in the head. So he sliced his eye. I was like, wow. So then it was Iris' turn, and Iris like, I'm choosing the barrel. So they dunk her head under there for 2 minutes, but she survived. She make it. She don't drown. So then it gets to the dark-haired girl, and she chooses her card instead of the barrel. Now, this is one of the instances where you know, oh, and inside of Iris's card was a tooth, so she would have had to get all of her teeth extracted out of her mouth. So she would have died too. Anyway, so the dark-haired girl, she chooses her card, but this is the situation where you know that the man had did research on all of them and knew like stuff that they had done in their past and what they was going through, because he knew she wasn't gonna choose that barrel because of something in her past. Well, she opened the card and it was a picture of a barrel with a 4 in the middle, and she was like, what is that? He was like, oh, it's another barrel, but it has a 4 in it, which means 4 minutes. So she still had to do the barrel, but she had to go under for 4 minutes. And he was just like, so, I mean, how long did it take your husband? How long did it take your daughter? So I guess she had drowned her damn family. So anyway, they dunk her under there. She ain't had no time to like take in no breath or nothing. So she drowned. So then it was Iris and the other dude. And he was like, okay, last game. So Iris, he's like, would you rather walk out of here right now? You and Travis can just walk out with no money or anything like that. Or you can shoot Travis with this dueling pistol and win the money and win the game. So they sitting there. He give her the pistol. Travis is like, this is good. We can just leave. We done. We can both walk out of here, blah, blah, blah. He started going into this whole little, like, beautiful speech. And then Iris was like, pow, shot him dead in the chest. And he was dead. And then, true to their word, they gave her the money. Told her, we already got a donor lined up for your brother. And you good to go. So that she take her little ride home. She gets to the house. She open the door, look in her brother's room. He in the bed, sleep or whatever. So she goes, take a shower, all of that stuff. And then she gets, and it was like early in the morning at this point, like the sun was coming up or whatever. So then she gets out of the shower, goes to check on her brother again. And then she goes and she sees some pill bottles open on his bed. And she was telling him to wake up, and he didn't. He hadn't committed suicide. Now, she had did all, that was the twist of the movie, and that was the ending. And she just cried. Like, that's just how it go off. And literally, she had did all of that, then killed somebody to get this money to take care of her brother, and he killed himself. Sad ending. So, yeah. Spoilers, by the way. Sorry. Yeah, so that was Would You Rather. It was really a good movie. Like I said, it was a psychological thriller. Like, nothing was scary about it, in my opinion. So yeah. Like I said, you can watch that on Netflix. Tomorrow I will be doing Skeleton Key. I watched it last night, so I'll be doing that, and I'll have some more lined up for y'all. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up, share it with a friend, share it with an enemy, whatever. Leave me a comment. I do comment back. And if y'all want to see any movies in particular, please let me know. It's your girl, Sweet Potato. This has been Couch Potato. Let me go try to eat my food in my last little 10-15 minutes on my lunch. All right. See y'all tomorrow.